just thought I should talk about this Charlie Mefford situation, because I think that there's something more to speak and talk about in a scenario like this. You know, you had apparently Charlie Mefford go to a Buffalo Wild Wings, have a few drinks, decide to get up behind the wheel and get pulled over and charged with a DUI. Multiple things to say about this. Of course, I have a DUI from when I was a younger person, probably in his age range. I think I was 22, 23. Happened all the way back in 2010. Life-changing. You know, I had to pay for a lot of stuff, do a lot of stuff, go through a lot of things, go to jail, go do all the stuff that you have to go through. Very, I would call, traumatic experience, not just in experience, but also in longevity of an experience, probation, things you have to go through to reconcile the charge. And really, drinking and driving, I sleep in my car sometimes just because if I don't feel like I'm sober, I don't think I should be driving, because the risk is just not worth the reward. Now, here's the problem. You know, Charlie Mefford, coming from a racing world, and hopefully Charlie's experience here will be long-term and effective, but he's coming from the racing world. Now, this is something that, you know, young people influenced by more than just the parents or the law of the land. If other people do it, they think they can do it too. And it is unfortunate, I think, that in the racing world, a bunch of people influence the decision to get drunk and get behind the wheel. You know who I'm talking about. You know who you are. You know what we see. You know the things that happen every weekend. And even not just racing. We see it all the time. We see people at the bars getting too drunk and going home. We see people at sporting events getting drunk and going home. We see people at concerts getting drunk and going home. And yeah, I get it. It's a fucked up setup system. Why sell so much? Why allow all these things to go? You know, my daddy did it. This person did it. They drive. They're fine. You know, a few people messed up and got a little too messed up and killed some people and all that. And now everybody has to pay the price. I could see the crazy argument of justifying getting behind the wheel drunk. I go to some racing events where I have drove home, and I'll get drunk to begin the night, and then I'll stop at heat races. And after a few hours of actually not drinking, you do sober up. Your breathing in and breathing out releases the toxicity from your body. And that's why breathalyzers work. That obviously, you know, drinking is bad in itself for livers and physical ailment, but it's a poison. This is a technical poison that is in your body, alcohol. So I think it is obviously somewhat, in my opinion, inexcusable to get behind the wheel drunk. And I feel bad for Charlie and the stuff he's going to have to go through to go through this. And the public scrutiny he's getting now because he's in a public, you know, domain, and he's a public figure in the dirt track racing world in the modified division. And obviously the Gateway Dome. We've had our own history with Charlie Mefford and criticism, but when you're young, you're influenced. When you're young or growing up in a culture, what everyone does around you, you do as well, because that's the culture that you do. We criticize gang violence and things from other cultures, and fatherless homes and things from other cultures, and blame the culture as to why they have this inherited problem, right? Same can be said here with the drinking and driving. Same can be said for not just drinking and driving, but a bunch of other things like misogyny, etc., etc. So, regardless, hopefully Charlie Mefford gets a little better through this experience, learns from the experience. I think that the biggest thing in life is trying not to make the same mistake twice, no matter what happens to you, whether that's DUIs, relationships with women, car wrecks, racing wrecks, issues when you're working on the car and you make a mistake. Learn from everything that goes bad. Everything that goes bad, in my opinion, is a lesson. Instead of getting mad and frustrated, instead of saying I should have did this and should have did that, what is the lesson actually being taught? Why did this happen? Should you have did this? Should you have done that? Yeah, probably some, decision making was in effect there. But also think about what you did throughout the day. Think about how you may have treated people one way or another. Think of how you've been living your life. Think about all the things that you have been doing recently to where you may be getting punished. This may be a punishment. I'm not saying this in particular with Charlie Mefford, but I think that sometimes things go bad in life as a form of realignment. It's the universe, it's God saying, hey man, you're doing some fucked up shit here. You're going to get a little whooping. Now you need to think about everything you've been doing. Not just getting behind the wheel. Not just that decision could be the reason that this is happening to you. So this is called self-reflection. And I think that the world will force some people to self-reflect. I hope that most people in the world are not egotistical to the point that they do not self-reflect and really do think it's about getting behind the wheel. I mean, I'm not saying Charlie did anything wrong. Maybe this is just an early life lesson for him to not be influenced by the negatives of the culture that he is surrounded in. Maybe that's the lesson, a long-term lesson. But for some other people out there, I think when bad things happen to you, you should maybe think as to why. Is it this? Is it that? How have I been treating people? Have I been doing people? Have I been doing bad things over here and thinking I'm getting away with it when God's always watching? And even though you got away with it here with no physical eyes catching you, the all-seeing eye has. And now you're paying the price for the fallacies that you did on this side of the map. That's all I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm saying. But multiple ways. Overall, Charlie Mefford hopefully can get through what he's going through. Also, we can recognize in the dirt track racing society and influence that it's not right to be drinking and driving. The bar culture is not the racetrack culture. Let's bring some more professionalism, not only to the racetrack and the drivers, but also to the fans and the culture. If we're going to criticize other cultures and their negative results due to their cultural influences, then we need to also judge ourselves in the same light. Anyways, we just fixed the horn on the old John Deere tractor. We're back at her here in the farming fields, bringing in the crop. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. We'll catch you next time. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment with what you think below. This is just what I think. It's my opinion. It's my mind. I express it. I'm not afraid to. Go ahead and do the same. Thanks for tuning in.